support group.
Your support group.
Your support group.
Welcome to an episode of Your Support Group. I'm your host, Kenny. Q is, well, Q is on vacation for the holidays. And really, I just went off of the reservation with recording this episode. This is just crazy. And I just really want to talk about it. So I'm going to record this episode. This way I can have this conversation open and just go ahead and just say how I feel. First of all, this just really has to stop with these kids getting killed like this. Just really. Mass shootings has to stop. It's just sad. But somebody messed up because now the FBI is running their own investigation, concurrent, but separately from the investigation that Texas law enforcement is currently running. The reason being is because they waited almost a whole entire hour and some change to go into the classroom where the shooter was because they believed that it was no survivors, although they heard gunshots. And not only that, the kids was calling 911 from inside the classroom while the officers was out in the hallway waiting all that time. Texas DPS and Governor Abbott need to have their story on the same accord because with Governor Abbott and Texas DPS, they they just don't have the same story. And then the most craziest thing is it's not even a whole entire week later, and the NRA is having a whole rally. I might as well say it's a rally. The NRA is having a whole convention a couple of miles away from where this happened. Then you got old Teddy Bear says, "Oh, let's have less doors at schools, or let's let's do this or listen." First of all, if you have less doors, you ever seen what happens when little kids start going crazy over an emergency? Let it be a fire, and then you'll have a bunch of dead little burnt up kids. That having one door doesn't make any sense. And furthermore, the reason why that door was even open is because it's the end of the school year. So parents and family members was coming in for the award ceremonies and different things like that. It was the end of the school year. They didn't have nothing to be worried about. They didn't have nothing to worry about, but they did. Then they have the audacity to talk about teachers being armed inside the schools. Listen, if a teacher is armed inside of the school, what happens? Because teachers already get enough flacked with this whole thing of them teaching uh, gender neutrality and um, it just racism. Listen, it's enough that teachers have on their plate. When you think about a teacher being armed inside of a school, first thing comes to my mind is what happens if one of those students accidentally get a hold of that gun? Then what? Then what? Or even worse, what happens if a student comes what happens if a student comes into the classroom playing around, doing something foolish, which we know kids gonna do fun little things, crazy things. I got kids. They do things that catch me off guard sometimes. But what happens if that teacher is caught off guard thinking that that student is an active shooter or something like that, and then she ends up shooting that kid? Now, the one thing that they've been saying is, and I can agree with, is having retired police officers or combat soldiers inside of schools. I mean, the kid came in there with some high firepower, and nobody was able to match that in an immediate attempt, or so they say, because, like I said, they haven't fully got their story correct. So the most dumbest thing I heard was, and this just goes back to everything that they constantly say that is just plain stupid. Oh, he loved the game Call of Duty. What does that have to do with anything? Just the same way y'all say that guns don't kill people, stupid people kill people. Video games don't kill people. Stupid people kill people. Evil people kill people. And this kid was evil. We need to stop giving him so much credit, putting him in the news, putting his name up out there. He don't need to be commemorated. He doesn't deserve nothing. Just going forward, we should omit these people from these terrible events. Just say who they were and just leave it at that. Don't keep on bringing them up. And when I start to really like think about things like this, I say to myself, how did he get the guns? I mean, because the cheapest gun on Daniel's Defense website, AR-15 style, is about $1,800. Now, even if he bought it used or on sale, it would probably be about 1,500. Add in the extended clips and all the other accessories, and then we're talking about close to about 2,500. Who's funding these people? And I'm sorry, no teenager I know would stockpile that much money to be able to buy that much stuff. And I'm not saying like all teenagers are bad with money, but I'm just saying it just doesn't make any sense for him to be able to get a hold of all that stuff so quickly and so very easily. So here's my solution. And I hope that a lawmaker or somebody is listening to this part, because this is the best solution that I can come up with in my head. And no, I'm not anti gun. I'm just anti guns in the hands of the wrong people that's able to make bad decisions and do things like the tragedy that happened in Uvalde. So here's my solution. How about we raise the minimum age to 25 to buy guns? Similar how they did tobacco and lottery back in the late 80s. But I want to clarify with this change to 25, unless you are law enforcement or militarily trained without like a discharge or anything like that that would dis- disallow you to have a gun, um, unless you are an officer of the law or militarily trained, you would have to wait until you're 25 to buy a gun, because I feel like if we can raise the minimum age to buy a pack of cigarettes to 21, the minimum age to buy alcohol is 21. How can you be 18 and buy a rifle? And when I was in my early 20s, and I'm not saying that all 20-year-olds or people in their early 20s are all the same, I didn't make the best decisions. I had fun. I enjoyed my life. I did crazy stuff. I didn't go as crazy as doing anything to anybody else that would cause them mental and physical harm. But I'm saying my decision making wasn't the greatest. And now we get to the worst part of it all, the kids, the surviving kids that will probably have survivor's remorse and have nightmares and memories of their friends and things that they seen that they didn't recall at the moment, but it just flashes back to them. These are children. These are our future doctor, lawyers, politicians, soldiers, our future. If not all of them, some of them will have scars that they live with forever. Forever. We can't allow this to keep on happening. We got to do better. We got to think better and be smarter. This is Kenny with your support group. Q is with us in spirit. And if ain't nobody told you they love you today, I do. Be safe out there, people. Yes, support group.